Alright everyone, in this pre-lab video we are going to go over how to assemble and disassemble an oxygen tank. So to start out with, we need to check and make sure we have all of our equipment. So make sure we have obviously our oxygen tank here. This one is brand new, you can see it's still got the seal on it. We're going to make sure that we have our regulator here, and then make sure we have the pieces of our regulator we need. Make sure that there's a nipple on the end of it to attach the oxygen to. Make sure that our dial looks like it will work. Make sure that it's actually at 0. The dial isn't stuck somewhere in no man's land. And then on the inside here, if you can see, make sure that there is an O-ring that is intact, and it goes on the brass knob on the inside part here. So this, and then we'll also need a key to turn the oxygen tank on. So to start with, we will peel the plastic off of our oxygen tank. Notice the oxygen tank is in a holder. The oxygen tank should never be freestanding by themselves. If they get knocked over, they can become a missile. So they always either need to be supported in a holder or they need to be laying flat on the ground. Once we've got the plastic off, first thing we're going to do is we're going to just crack this open slightly to make sure that there's no dust inside of the hole there that we're going to hook our regulator up to. Once we're sure that that's clear, we'll take our regulator. On this side of the tank, there are 3 holes. There's a big hole and then 2 little holes there, which matches up inside of our regulator here. We've got the big brass thing that the oxygen goes through, and then on the bottom we have 2 little knobs that will secure it in place. So we're going to line that up on our tank and then spin the windlass here until it's tight. You don't need to crank it down, just make sure that it's snug on there so you're able to get it back off later. Once you're sure that that is tight, take your key and open your tank up. You don't need to open it all the way. A half turn is plenty. We should see the gauge move. This was a brand new tank, so it's at 2000 PSI, which is good. Anything above 500 is good. Once these get to 500, then we should switch our tank out and get a new tank. Now we are ready to deliver oxygen. So you would take whichever device you're going to use, whether it's a nasal cannula or a non-rebreather. You take this end and you put it onto the nipple here. Using the dial here, select your liter flow for a nasal cannula, anything up to 6 liters of oxygen, and then you would apply this to your patient. When you're done with the oxygen, turn your dial back down to 0. Unattach your device, and then if for whatever reason you needed to take this tank apart, say it's empty now, what you would do is, using your key, turn the tank back off, turn the dial all the way up until our gauge goes to 0. If you don't bleed the regulator before you open it up, you can blow out your O-ring. Once the regulator is at 0, then you can spin your windlass, take your regulator off, and now you're good to switch tanks if need be. And that is how you assemble and disassemble your oxygen tank.